this tutorial, you will need either an oval or a teardrop cabochon, wire working tools. This is a wire cutter, and I like to use a multi-tool with a round nose end and also a flat part. For wire, you're going to need 26 gauge round weaving wire, an 18 gauge dead soft copper square wire. The first thing you're going to want to do is determine how much square wire that you need. I usually base this on how long the stone is and do about 3 or 4 times the length of the stone. This pendant is going to have quite a decorative bail though, so I'm giving myself some extra wire just so I don't run out. You'll need to cut a length of 26 gauge weaving wire for this next part. Then you're going to take your 3 bottom square base wires and line them up and flatten them out as much as you can. Starting from the center of your weaving wire, wrap around the 3 base wires so that they are flat and parallel. You want them to sit next to each other because they will form the base for your stone to sit on. Once you make a few wraps, make sure to push up tight the wrapping so that it sits flat and is not loose. You'll need to do this every couple of wraps. How many times you wrap will depend on the length of the bottom of your stone. Just size it out as you go to make sure that you don't go too long or too short. Once you're satisfied with the length, you're going to want to make sure that your weaving wires are both facing the same direction. Then you're going to flatten out the center. This makes a smooth surface for your base, but also hardens the metal, and it's going to make your necklace stronger. Then you're going to separate out the backmost wires and wrap the weaving wires around that wire twice. Make sure to pull it so that it's nice and tight, and then you can also use your pliers to push that down a little bit. And then when you're happy with that, trim it off, and then make sure to squish down any sharp ends. Repeat this on the other side. This part where you did the 2 little wraps is going to be the back of your pendant. So you're going to want to flip it over and smooth it out and get it ready to form around the stone. Center your wires along the bottom of your stone, and while pushing it down on a flat surface, start bringing them up as evenly as possible. This might take a few tries and you might need to do it wire by wire, but just work at it and try to make sure that it is even. Once you're satisfied with your frame, line up your wires and create a nice space for them to meet. This is where you're going to attach it. Taking your 26 gauge weaving wire, wrap tightly around all the wires. Again, you're going to end up with both ends of the weaving wire facing towards the back. The next thing you're going to want to do is flip your pendant over and trap the stone in. You're going to do this by separating out the backmost wire and bending it in with your round nose pliers or your hands, whichever works. Now is the time to make any adjustments to the front and sides of your pendant. Once your stone is secure, you're going to flip the pendant back over and we're going to anchor down these two small wires. Pull out the two wires at the top that are facing closest to the wires that are out in the back and then wrap them around twice and trim them. And again, squish down any wires that are sharp or sticking up. Next, we're going to find the wires that are in the direct center of the pendant that are parallel to each other. Those are going to be your bail. The other wires we're going to bend down out of the way for now. The next thing you're going to want to do is take your 26 gauge weaving wire again. You're going to wrap those center wires together. Just like the bottom base of the pendant, you're going to wrap them tightly and you're going to have to keep pushing them down as you go. You're going to want to make it quite tall because it's going to have to bend down and then two wires are going to have to attach it to the front. Once you're satisfied with the length of your bail, you're going to separate out those two wires and wrap around twice with that 26 gauge wire and trim it, and then you're going to squish it down. After making any other needed adjustments to your pendant, now you're going to bend down the bail. Usually just use my round pliers, but also you could use a pencil, or there's bail making pliers. Then you're going to separate out those two wires in the back and bring them together into a loop. Then the top wire is going to go one way and the bottom is going to go the other way, and they're going to go around. Just like that. The shorter end here, I'm going to actually tuck into the bail and then pinch to close off. The other wire I'm going to take and make a spiral out of. I'm going to start with one wire along the front and make a figure 8 shape, coming up and around and then going around the back of the pendant and back around to the front. And I'm going to make a spiral with that end going upwards. Repeat this with the second wire facing the front. We're going to do the same thing with the next two wires, except we're going to go along the back in basically the opposite direction. When you're done, it's going to form sort of a heart shape. Now your pendant is basically done. Take a look at the back and the bottoms and feel for any rough or sharp spots that might touch the skin while being worn. Make sure that the bottom is tight. Sometimes it helps to kind of press it down or roll along a flat, hard surface. Make sure the wires are aligned in the front and along the sides and that the stone is nice and secure. Other than that, you should be done and have a nice wearable pendant that was not too difficult to make, hopefully. Thank you for checking out my tutorial, and if you like my jewelry designs, please check me out on Etsy at The Hags Cure.